Welcome to the Vote Matters. I'm your host, T.S. and here at TVM, is this tea? For Pete's sake, you know I only drink decaf coffee. Welcome to the Vote Matters. I'm your host, T.S. and here at TVM, we discuss political topics through a nonpartisan and entertaining manner that empowers you, the voter. Today's topic is political tribalism and how it looms over this nation as one of the greatest threats to our democracy. Joining me today is an expert in this field, Dr. G. Risk. Dr. G. Risk has been accredited with numerous works on this subject matter, as well as having 2 doctorates, with one in behavioral science and the other in political science. Let's welcome in Dr. G. Risk. Dr. Risk, thanks for coming in today.
Pleasure to be here. Political tribalism, a devious subject to speak about. It remains one of our most prolific topics that strikes at the heart of our democracy.
I'm going to pull up on screen the definition of political tribalism so that our audience is more aware of today's topic of discussion. Do you agree with this definition, Dr. Risk?
Yes, that's a good definition. However, I want to expand on it a bit more. I want to make clear to people that political tribalism is a wedge that divides us as a nation. Its goal is not to disrupt civil discourse, but to fully eradicate it in order to divide us into opposing tribes. For example, within the Star Wars community, there came division. A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Hayden Christensen, we were divided. Originals, prequels, traditionalists, those who have no taste.
Thank you, Dr. Risk, for that example, but I was hoping we could remain more on topic with political examples such as, gun control, climate change, and abortion. Why would topics like these cause so much division?
Well, to be blunt, these topics are inherently divisive, but the real question is, what makes them so divisive? Well, I would argue because people personalize and internalize them. In a research project we conducted, we recognized that elements such as genetics, environment, and peers were the most influential in forming a person's political identity. When a person feels that this identity is in question, they will attack opposing views and believe their actions are justified to dominate and destroy the threat.
Well, that is quite insightful.
Take, for instance, generally speaking, taxes. Within this topic, you constantly see 2 separate tribes, often divided between Democratic and Republican party lines, demagogue incredibly complex economic issues to the extent that they come to wholly represent their values and political identities. And these tribes continue to just bludgeon each other for no other reason than to protect these manufactured avatars. But people have gone much further to protect their identities, even to the point of killing.
Really? People will kill to protect their identity?
Oh yeah. For example, James Bond looks to reinforce his identity by eliminating 2 opposing enemy agents in order to earn his double O's and granting him the title of greatest spy. And in order to protect his identity going forward, Bond must continue to kill to stay atop.
No. James Bond, huh?
Yeah, he's great.
All right, moving on. I wanted to ask you, Dr. Risk, is political tribalism a new phenomenon?
Oh, no, it's been around for a long time. Look at the United States. The Revolutionary War, to a certain extent, was divided along politically tribal lines, in which you had colonists or loyalists who felt that the King of England was their rightful ruler, and the rebels, the founders of our nation, who felt it was their duty to defy this monarchy. And when you look at something as divisive as the Civil War, for average people, North versus South was in some ways a matter of personal identity rather than any political belief. And Taylor Swift, now.
Did you just say Taylor Swift?
When it comes to pop culture, Taylor Swift is the most divisive pop culture icon. You either love her or you hate him.
Hold that thought for 1 second. All right, who is this guy?
I don't know. Seemed like a credible person to interview.
A credible person? Man, this guy's all over the place. He's not even keeping with the topic of political tribalism.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like an interview. It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool? Okay.
Get back up there. You're gonna get dead air pretty soon, man.
Okay, well, just give me better guess next time.
Whatever, dude.
All right, sorry about that. And we're back. So, Dr. Risk, we see political tribalism has been with us since the birth of our nation. The question I have is, in today's environment, if political tribalism is not properly put in check, could America find itself falling into a civil war again?
No. We are not going to war anytime soon.
But it just feels like there's a lot of tension out there, especially between the red and blue tribes. With political tribalism fueling so much division, how are you certain there won't be a civil war?
Well, because the division that Taylor Swift creates is along purely musical preferences. Pop music versus everything else. I just don't see that causing a civil war in this nation purely on the basis of Swifties and non-Swifties.
How on earth do we keep coming back to Taylor Swift?
Well, she's a great example for any problem today.
How about if we were talking about political topics like gun control, the education system, the economy, immigration, taxes, two-tiered system of justice, abortion, red state versus blue states, and to top it all off, let's put Taylor Swift in the mix.
All right, well, when we talk about these topics, in my studies, we concluded that, well, if these issues were not resolved in a timely manner, yes, there was a possibility of the United States going into a more severe internal conflict within the decade. It's highly probable, to be honest.
Now, we know political tribalism exists in our nation. With the probability of us going to civil war within the next decade, why don't politicians address the division they see and that is occurring right now?
Abraham Lincoln was keenly aware of how far politicians will go in these instances, and he tried to give us a message for all generations when he said, "A house divided cannot stand." He understood politicians don't seek to solve problems until it's too late. Lincoln understood how political tribalism allows politicians to have a sense of control and a guaranteed voting bloc. And to be honest, if a guaranteed group of people are funding a campaign, why would you ever stop doing what you're doing?
So you're saying politicians are not willing to resolve these problems?
Well, if you are guaranteed votes and you are guaranteed funding in perpetuity, there is no reason to change course. Political tribalism fuels these campaigns. Politicians will continuously seek to divide communities in order to maintain power. For example, in Star Wars, Sith Lord Chancellor Palpatine created division within the Republic and ultimately used it to secure special powers from Jar Jar Binks within the Senate to turn the entire Republic into a puppet show that he controlled, thus ushering in the Galactic Empire, wherein the Jedi were eradicated.
All right, let's keep it in our galaxy and focus on the United States. Do you think our vote matters?
Absolutely, our vote matters. Our founding fathers built this nation on the principle of a country being run of the people, by the people, and for the people, and ensured that we had a system of checks and balances to maintain some sense of control as a population over our government. While, albeit this nation was born out of political tribalism, we ensured rights and protections that would give citizens the power to stop these incursions by politicians onto our rights and liberties as free-thinking, grown people.
So, Doctor, what you're saying is our government and our politicians are our greatest threat to our democracy?
In a manner. The entire system of government itself is in constant conflict with the tenets of a democratic, principled society. These topics have been around for a long time, the very same ones we are debating right now, in the streets, in government. As the wise Yoda once said, "Once down a dark path, forever shall it control thy destiny."
So, Doctor, how do we keep our politicians from going down the dark path in which they use political tribalism to divide us as a nation?
By discussing these topics in a civil manner. Not trying to be righteous, but being open to other perspectives. Not looking to judge and dominate, but to be willing and open and compassionate. Civil discourse is the most powerful tool we can use to keep from falling down into the dark path.
So only through civil discourse will we get the elected officials who will lead in the best interest of our nation?
Well, with a lot of hard work on top, that's absolutely true. We don't need to make it about I'm right, you're wrong, who is morally superior, red versus blue, Swifty, non-Swifty.
Well, thank you, Dr. G. Risk, for this enlightening conversation. It'll be one I will never forget. And to our audience, we're always thankful and appreciative. As always, the vote matters. Stay tuned for more upcoming content. Be sure to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.